Shabbat Shalom. Good to see all of you seeing me today in the Shabbat. Shabbat of Matot Maseh is the Parsha. Maseh, the final Parsha in the book of Bamidbar, of the wilderness, talks about the steps and the stops that the Israelites took on their 40-year trek. And they're about now to enter into Eretz Canaan, which will be, of course, and eventually become the Jewish homeland, from which they were departed for all the years of slavery and the 40 years of the generation of slaves who were liberated from Egypt have died, and a new generation has come up. I thought this was a good opportunity to talk about our own spiritual journeys and the steps that we take. And one of the great paradigms of this is the paradigm of Jacob's ladder and the journey of Jacob, who was really an exemplar of someone who grows and changes. And it's seen, that story of Jacob's ladder is seen by the Kabbalah. We find this in a wonderful collection, compilation of Kabbalist teachings by a wonderful scholar that we had, Shai Horowitz, called the Shalah. He's called the Shalah, named after his book, Shnei Luchot HaBrit, the two tablets of the law, of the covenant, the two tablets of the covenant. And then he talks about the fact that the ladder represents four worlds. So what we're going to do today is give you an opportunity to introduce some sort of meditations that will hopefully help you to enjoy the Shabbat and bring a sense of comfort, and more importantly, a sense of relaxation, just to open oneself up and take this spiritual journey. It's a journey which is a daily climb. We climb the ladder every day. No one gets to the top of the ladder like the angels. They go up and down. They have to ascend and descend. And such is the rhythm of the spiritual journey, of ascent and descent, of coming closer and going further away. So the way we'll do it is I'll do the four steps, and I will stop for a moment or two, so you can stop the video if you wish, and sit. Just remember to sit straight, your back straight, feet on the ground, hands in a comfortable position on your knees, or on your thighs, or in your lap. Take a number of deep breaths and become aware of your own breathing. The last time I was on, I talked about a Yud He Vav He breathing, which is basically taking a breath with the Yud, first letter before the letter name of God. Inhale the He, keeping it in the Vav, your spine, and then letting it out again with the second He. And thus, we fulfill that reality that it is only through a breath that we truly can pronounce, if you will, or enunciate the name of God, because it can't really put into words, because we have to be very careful not making God into a noun. That's really an important thing. It's a verb, Eloheinu, who guides us. So the four steps are Asiyah, Yitzhak, Bria, and Atzilus. The first step. Each morning as we come into life, we're summoned to climb Jacob's ladder and cultivate our microcosmic four worlds that reside at various strata of our identity. Only after this intense meditation and emotional journey can one really face the business of joining the bustling life that we have led. It gives us the vision and fortitude that is required to illuminate the world around us with goodness and love. I'm very grateful to a piece that I read, which inspired this talk by Rabbi Walleye Jacobson, who's well known in the Chabad world and beyond the Chabad world. Now, these are abstract metaphysical concepts. And how can we apply the doctrine of the four worlds to our personal lives? And how can we access them on a daily basis? So this is the first world, the world of action, Asiyah, action. And the first step toward genuine growth requires you to take control of your inner world of action, Asiyah. becoming conscious of your day-to-day and hour-to-hour behavioral patterns, and introducing the critically needed changes that you need to make into your schedule for the day. And the changes may range from social behaviors, avoiding gossip or slander, being, if you will, more careful about your business relationships, eliminating any kind of dishonesty, or your personal life, easing perhaps senses of addictions and tendencies towards immoral behavior, and whatever kind of habitual life that you've gotten into that you'd like to break out of, gambling, drinking, whatever it would be. And the initial step in taking this climb up on Jacob's ladder is a commitment to change undesirable habits on a tangible behavioral level. So the first step is basically coming to terms with those things in yourself that you want to rise up from, that you want to change. So take a few moments to absorb that. If you want to play it again, play it again. I'll begin with the second step in a moment. So meanwhile, put yourself in a position, a comfortable position on a good chair or on the floor, however you meditate. And take in a breath, a cleansing breath. And then a second. And then a third. And then basically come back to your breathing as the stories in your mind will begin to flow. Come back to your breathing. And that contemplation, if you will, of that moment in time that is now will aid in alleviating some of the anxieties and allow you to understand how the world of Asiya, the world we live in, is a world that demands us to behave in a certain way. And it's a way that not only helps us in the world, but ultimately helps cultivate our own spiritual journeys. But behaviorism is not enough. We're not robots. Our behaviors are results of all kinds of emotions, attitudes, perspectives, perhaps even traumas. So if you wish to maintain a healthy and ethical lifestyle, you can't merely do the right things by rote. You must be inspired inwardly, and thus the journey must continue into the second layer of consciousness, the world of Asiya, translated often as the world of formation. The second step, Yitzira. The second step in growth, according to this schema of the four worlds, is to explore the inner formation of your psyche. In the world of Yitzira, you need to examine your inner attitudes, your motives, temperaments, and give birth to your daily conduct and behavior. You must muster the strength to reformat, reform, reform your internal emotional structures. We are set off in these structures. And the relationship with God means not a relationship necessarily only of behaviorism, only of how to do things in a certain way, which of course in our tradition is very important, the world of action, what we do, very important. But we have to also nurture a relationship with the divine within our own inner core, so we can be aligned with the divine. So take a few moments now, as long as you want. You can stop the video and come back to it. And then we'll get to the third step. So taking in breath and letting it out. The Yud, the Hey, the Vav. You hold your breath for a tiny millisecond and then you exhale. Yud, Hey, Vav, Hey. Pronouncing, of course, the divine name through our breath. In the Kabbalistic tradition, the relationship between the divine and the world, God and the world, is not seen as the only relationship between the creator and the created, but rather a link between, if you will, the surface level of reality, what we perceive, and the depth of reality, which we may not perceive. So in Kabbalah, the term God is the term employed to describe the underlying structure of all of existence. The teacher of Zalman called the underlying organization of reality. And of course, this includes human existence. So in the Kabbalistic tradition, a relationship with God means a relationship with your own inner core, and of course, with the reality of your own reality. And alienation from the divine, or alienation from God, ultimately, comes from the depths of the self-alienation. This many of us feel in many ways when we approach different situations in our lives. But how? About all the scars and all the pain, the wounds that become part of our psyche. We have a lot of trouble reformatting or reframing. How about the abuse and inner turmoil that has seeped into our psyches, in the very stuff of our character and our chemistry and our lives? Can anyone ever be healed of them? And that's really a real important question. And leads us to the third world, the world of Bria, creation. In this state of consciousness of Bria, you don't really reform yourself as we did in the Yitzhak, but you are empowered to, and this is a wonderful word, to recreate yourself. Recreate yourself. Bria, to create. Here in this world of Bria, you surrender all of your previously claimed, your sense of divine vision of life, allowing a higher power to recreate your identity all over again, from nothing to something. And here in the world of Bria, you are allowed entry into that core space of self that recognizes this perpetual change, metamorphosis, if you will. And we talk about this notion of everything being created anew, mechadesh, b'chol yom tamid. As we say in our morning prayers, God is constantly, there's a constant renewal, a constant of making things new. And ultimately, we express this nothingness into somethingness in this part of the prayers in the morning called the Shema and her blessings. The Shema and her blessings. And the oneness of all things. And that God is the only one, if you will, recreating us every day. Recreating us and giving us the opportunity every day to be in a new kind of expression of our own reality. And it's frightening because you have to, at this point, possess the readiness. This is talked about a great deal in all mystical traditions, the readiness to erase yourself, to get rid of that I, of that I-ness. I-ness. Matter of fact, in Hebrew, when you speak to someone, an egotist, he's a nochiut. He has a nochiut, his I-ness. And that is an obstacle, if you will. So, even after your entry into this world, you haven't become yet one with reality, but you have come to a place where you've surrendered your notion of selfhood for the sake of ultimate reality, however that can be perceived. But there's still a remnant of the I that is attempting to experience that oneness. I am experiencing you, I'm experiencing the divine God, and the very awareness of self indicates that I am still somewhat alienated from the true reality. So take a few moments, if you will, to observe, if you will, in silence, in quietness, something about this idea of how one loses the self does not lose that capacity to recreate, creativity in and of itself. Artists are keenly aware of this, and this truth in their own careers. There's a point in the work of writers and musicians and painters and speakers that when they cease to be conscious of their existence as an independent entity, instead becoming conduits, if you will, a pipeline for deeper energy coming through them. And it's this point that the artist performs best, where himself has merged with the object of art, has merged into a seamless whole. The violinist and the violin become one. The painter's brush on the canvas becomes one. The speaker brings whatever inspiration he or she can give you, eliminating, if you will, the barrier of the self, of the I. So take a few moments to consider that, and then we will go on to the fourth step. The fourth world, the world of Atzilut. Very difficult to translate it. You can translate it in many ways. And Atzil in modern Hebrew is noble, so it's nobility. It's often translated as emanations. Everything flows from this world of Atzilut. But the way it's understood by many in the Kabbalistic tradition, it's really a sense of being etzlo, at God's place. I often say it's like saying chez in French, Chez, chez Pierre. You're at Pierre's. So we are in a new sense of intimacy in this world of Atzilut. And that intimacy is really, truly a way for us to be invited, to be truly in connection. And you allow yourself at this point, because of the comfort of that, you can melt away all the outer shells that you have. You can melt away in this all-pervading reality of the oneness of the divine, of God. And you achieve intimacy with the divine. And your entire personality becomes a transparent conduit from which the oneness of God shines forth. So this could be understood as spiritual enlightenment, if you will. And it creates a new form of self-expression of how you will be in the world. It is the possibility now in that level of intimacy that you begin to see how all four of these worlds operate at the same time, constantly moving, constantly flowing, and us in our lives being part of that ebb and flow of energy. And it also helps us if we get to that place of feeling intimate and comfortable with being part of the great divine, of even melting away, as I said, all of the externals, that a certain glimmer of happiness might emerge. And that happiness is when we ascend that ladder and realize, Manora hamakom hazeh, how wondrous is this place. Va'ani anochi ani lo yadati, I didn't know. I didn't open myself to know how wondrous this place is. And what is this place? Is hamakom. This is the universe. How wondrous it is. As we climb the ladder and reach the top, we descend again, and every day we climb up the ladder. Shabbat shalom.